All right, good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Chris Baroni. I'm with the Lake Lindero Homeowners Association and Lake Lindero Country Club. I'm the CEO and chairman of our legal committee. And I wanted to give you guys an update regarding, as it states here, Wolk Levine update. So real quick on that, I just want to let you know ahead of time that I won't be able to delve into this as much as maybe you would like or I would like, but I can assure you that's because of the best interest of the HOA that I need to take into consideration first. My personal desires obviously will be second. And I do understand and know that the other side, the GPL supporters, would try to coax me into saying certain things. It just isn't going to happen. They're just not smart enough. And quite frankly, it's not even needed. So first and foremost, has Zachary Levine resigned like Michael Allen said? No, Michael Allen doesn't tell the truth a lot of the time. I think he was going around the other day claiming he was president or something crazy absurd. And no, he didn't resign. Is Wolk Levine backing away from some cases, if not all cases? They're not doing a very good job of communicating that, but I think it's probably some cases. Why? I can tell you it's because what they claim was, it was just a little bit hard, I think, working with me, which I wouldn't deny, but I think they made it really hard, and I think there's probably 3 directors who don't think it would have been that hard had they just simply done what we had asked them to do. One of those things is to represent us properly, and that didn't happen in certain cases. So I don't like that. I don't appreciate that, and they know it, and they were put on notice 6 months ago about it. And I use the analogy of the compass pointing north, north being integrity. We need to stay as close to that as we possibly can. Hey, listen, nobody's perfect, but I can assure you I'm not worried in the tiniest, smallest, littlest bit. Zach, on the other hand, is, and he probably has good reason to be. Okay. What spurred all of this? As I told you in the beginning, it was a representation thing. Then it became a billing thing. And then it became a who's going to represent us in federal court thing. And the bottom line is our attorney, David Gauntlet and Jim, they're a great law firm. They're the higher echelon of attorneys. They're definitely near that top of the class. They do this for a living. They're in federal court all the time, straight shooters. They bent over backwards for this HOA and myself. They did things that I'm greatly appreciative of. They know what that is. And they're also really and truly, they're very well respected. We're very fortunate to have Gauntlet and Associates representing us. A huge accomplishment for our HOA, and very thankful. And you'll find out why when this is over. And I mean that. And you've never heard me say that before, except, of course, the GPL and Rappaport cases, which provided that the people who are playing pretend don't try to hurry up and settle with them for whatever benefit they'll have in that one. Anyway, so those are the reasons. Really and truly, I'm not going to get too much into it. It isn't worth it. It's not going to change anything. And as I can tell you, if you're an HOA member, you're in a really good spot. By this time next year, you'll have known, because I think some of these cases will be over. And while I'm confident, I'm not arrogant, but I like our chances, and I don't like our chances because, well, I've got to tell you that. I've said that from day one, and I haven't let you down. And with the Rappaport case obviously being dropped, that's just one sign. The other thing with regards to this, and I will mention because Wolk Levine, I know was berated by Michael Allen and Hal Siegel and Harriet Cohen and the rest of the GPL supporters because he was the only one that had the guts to do what it took in the beginning. Somewhere along the way, Wolk Levine and Zach lost his way. It was clear. It was unfortunate. I've had many conversations with them regarding it. And they wanted to try to strong arm myself and the board. And they were bluffing. And as I say, I don't understand that concept. I'm not playing poker, so maybe that's just a wrong analogy I'm using, but I don't bluff. There's no point. Either I'm in a position or I'm not in a position, but I don't need to pretend to anybody because I don't normally hang out with stupid people who couldn't figure it out. Unfortunately, sometimes you'll find that people will think you're the stupid person. So anyways, that's where we're at there. And I can only tell you this, outside of that, when I think I'd mentioned this to you guys, when we found out the conspiracy of cases, which of course I'm not a conspiracy theorist, so this being kind of the first one I've been officially engaged in, I didn't know all of what it took to actually do this or begin the process of. And so, I simply wanted to follow up and find out certain things, and it became too difficult with Wolk and Levine, and then they didn't want to answer their phone, and and they, because you asked so many questions. Yeah, I've been doing that for the last 18 months. Sorry that I don't meet your expectations, but not sorry. I've done more for that law firm outside and within the scope, all legal of course, than anybody I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be family, okay? Because I cared, and I knew that effort put in would be their effort out. And for whatever reason, that stopped. So back to the conspiracy thing, which is when Rappaport, Miller, and Klezak filed their lawsuit, the one thing that was abundantly clear to those of us that read it is, one, what the hell is Gary Klezak doing on there, and who is he the CPA for? Is it Miller? Is it Rappaport? Unlikely. Is it Smith? One of those, okay? And then when Klezak took himself off, by the way, he still has yet to tell anybody the reason why. But maybe he'd like to tell us that he actually did file it and then took himself off, and then explain why he would have done that. Then Miller suing himself, not just because he was suing the HOA, but because literally he himself for not doing reserve studies and about 5 other things. You don't go around normally doing that. You don't normally sue yourself like that. You could just probably not do that, wait for somebody else if they like it. And then, as we found out that Rappaport clearly wasn't a part of that lawsuit, and he was kind enough to finally put that in writing for us. So thank you to him. And, like I've said, moving forward with people, you've just got to be able to, willing to get through some of the tough times. I think, in all honesty, Mr. Rappaport saw it as an opportunity to right a wrong, and it was a very bad wrong. And I think he was given really, really bad information, and I think he genuinely feels like shit about that. He's even said so. And, as much as we may dislike what he did, and I still do, we've had many, 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 many conversations, and none of them are all that contentious anymore. I don't think they need to be. I think that he knows I have a job to do. I think he respects that. I think certainly more than he did originally, but I also think that he's seen things and he's been made aware of things. And I think he's seen David Smith for who he really is, and GPL for who they really, really are. And all of this that's happening right now is all related to that, right? I mean, the case management conference, you'll hear me reference as a CMC, is on the 22nd. Depositions, I think, begin on like the 17th. The pretending that you win an election stuff, I mean, that's just so juvenile. I mean, nobody's falling for that bullshit, honestly. I don't care how many of the lemmings out there get close to the ledge and decide to jump. It's silly. We know what the minimum requirement is. It's 230 votes, affirmative votes, okay? Not even 230 votes, 230 affirmative votes. And that's actually what it says in dang near everything they send us, every corporate code, and then they just want to take a snippet or a half of it and put it in there. And then they want to introduce something called a quorum into it. Let me explain this really quick so that way this is free of charge to the attorneys who really should probably be paying me, except, quite frankly, they know what I'm about to say is true. They just get paid to write what they write no matter what, which is this. the minimum requirement for the quote quorum is a quorum, okay? That's 230 for our HOA because we have 459 homes. Reducing that quorum doesn't get you a quorum. I'm sorry. It's called a reduced quorum, right? For a reason. You still didn't meet the minimum threshold, which was 230. You don't have a minimum threshold and then go, well, hey, listen, we can just throw a quorum in there and we'll have 115 people throw away 250 votes. That doesn't make any election logical anymore, right? A recall is a recall. And then the general election is the general election. So for those of you who really are believing that anytime you have a general election, you can just get 115 of your friends or whatever, 150 of your friends, and overturn the other 250 that who voted. And I said 244 before it was 250. Good on you. You're brilliant. So when you hear these things and they have to introduce a reduced quorum, you can have a reduced quorum. That doesn't mean you get the result you want. You can have, I think, 2 reduced quorums if you want. It doesn't achieve the result that's required, okay? I know that's hard for some of you to understand. I get it. The precedent that was set prior to, as the attorneys aren't telling you, okay? Well, one kind of did, but he probably didn't mean it. Is what also the court's never going to look at it because they'll never bring it to court. But if they do, fine. Hey, listen, we're all for it. But the board stands as the board stands, as the same board it was when it was elected way back earlier in 2019. So they want to go. They are the ones that would have to take it to court. And like I've said, if they so choose, we welcome the opportunity. But remember, these attorneys get paid to write the letters, so quit putting so much emphasis. I mean, I just told you about what happened with the GPL and Rappaport case. They were attorneys too. Granted, I wouldn't, and I'll apologize to whoever the Lorden attorneys are pretending to be HOA attorneys in advance. I'm not putting you in that category. I don't think any of you have been suspended from practicing law for a year and are as unethical as those two. But in either case, though, you are being unethical. You know better. And you're full of shit. And you're lying through your teeth. And you're doing so to create havoc. And I still contend that you can be sued for that. Because you know what you're saying. Or what you're alluding to. Or the trickery of your words. You know it's inducing a undue influence upon this association. Upon myself. Friends, family, neighbors, all for some bullshit attempt at trying to help out your friends over there at Lorden and GPL. It's not going to work. So I get it. If you need money that bad, then we've got some work you can do for us. Honest work, I call it. All right. So that's pretty much it. Enjoy the rest of your guys' weekend. I look forward to getting back at it, and any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them in the comments box. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourself a wonderful Sunday, guys. Take care, and appreciate y'all. Thanks.